All right, let's go back to the brush for a second here, and let's add a little something. So I'm going to come over here to my brushes, and let's go to our brush presets, which will show you a list of brushes that are going on here. Now, for anybody that has a Wacom tablet or a pressure-sensitive tool, you're going to get so many things that you can do more with. So let's take a look here. And what I want to do is I want to find a shape. So let's find the grass. Let's grab the grass brush here. We'll go to the brush tip, and look what we're going to get when we grab the brush. If we click and paint, we get, now I've got everything on, so let's turn everything off. So let's undo that. And let's click on this. And guys, if we want, we can take that brush tip and we can change the size here. Okay, we can make it smaller. So if I come out here, it's going to be much smaller. And you can see the preview down here. This is all great. This works fine. But I don't know if I've told you this, but I've probably mentioned it. So here we're going to paint with right now the foreground color is blue, so it's going to paint. Do an undo. And what I can do is my left and right bracket keys. Right next to the P key or near the return key, there's brackets. You can use those keys. If I use the left bracket, notice my brush gets smaller. If I use the right bracket, click on that a couple times, it makes my brush larger. Okay? I love this little tooltip or keyboard shortcut. The left and right brackets, when you are doing a lot of, let's say, doing some retouch work or doing some editing, you're going to want to change brush sizes quite a bit. You can change it from doing a small detail spot to a large detail spot. And see how much larger the brush gets? I can take that so far up and come down here. Move this around. When you're doing touch-up work or brush work, doing a lot. Especially when I'm doing portrait work, touch-up stuff like that, I use the left and right brackets all the time because you want to get in. Oh, I got to do a nice spot on the face. I'm going to do some skin. I'm going to use a bigger brush. Then I'm going to get down near the eyes and I'm going to retouch a little bit in the eyes and do some things. So instead of going back and forth to your brush panel, it's just way easier and faster to use your left and right brackets. So now let's go ahead and show the shape dynamics with this tool. Because when we paint, look at that, we turn on the shape dynamics and look at how it makes the grass go all over the place. So let's actually do this with a green so that we got more of a grass look, right? Look at that, we've got the grass happening. It's more like a regular grass. Still not very realistic looking, correct? So if the size jitter is way up, we can change the size jitter down around 50, and that doesn't throw it all over the place as much. So undo that. Let's turn off the transfer too. So we're going to go to shape dynamics, minimum diameter. So let's change up the size of the grass so it has more variation. The angle jitter, let's change the grass so it's not so much. Look, if we change it crazy, look at how much that we can start painting and it changes it all over the place. So the angle jitter on that might not work great, but on certain things that's going to work pretty cool. So let's drop that angle jitter back down a little bit. Roundness jitter is just going to help round things out or lengthen them or all kinds of fun stuff. And then we can even change the X jitter and the Y jitter. So if we paint, it flip and flops. So let's just paint with the X jitter and it's going to do that. So undo and go back here like so. Go back to my brush. Go to scattering. And let's open up that scattering. And look what it does when we really open up that scattering. So now when we paint, we've got grass all over the place. gives you that wider, bigger feel. We can do the count up to a lot, as you see below. And you can paint in a whole lot of grass, so you get that nice grass effect. So let's drop the count back down. The count jitter is way up. If we want, we can drop the count jitter down. Color dynamics, we can change the hue and the saturation. Notice here's the controls. You'll see these controls on a couple of different areas in the brush panel. If we want, we can do fade. So if we paint like this, it'll fade off. Notice it didn't do a lot because it faded it off. Fade of 1. Undo that. And then this is where, if you have a Wacom tablet, you can change it to pressure sensitive. And my laptop's trying to catch up. I apologize. There we go. So we turn that off. But here we can do pen pressure, pen tilt, stylus wheel, rotation, stuff like that. But right now we're going to leave that off. And then foreground, background jitter, we can drop that down so it's not as much. So when we paint with just a little, notice here we're getting a little variation of the green and the red, so you get more of a colors like this. And then you're going to show us this. If we go to transfer, we can do opacity jitter, so certain things will be more opaque, so just bump that way up and paint, and you get that some are really dark, some are a little more transparent. Very nice setup. Flow jitter, so it flows a little differently. It's a really nice way to do a lot of stuff with the brushes. The brushes are just fantastic. You can do so many things in here. It's really kind of cool. Now, when we look at some of these brushes, I'm going to go back up here. Grab our brush again. If we go back up here, there are some brushes that we have, boom, right off the bat. But you can pretty much do anything you want with the brushes. If you look at my brushes panel at the office, I don't have them all here. I have grunge brushes, I have blood splatters, I have dust, I have flames, I have pixie dust, I have all kinds of different brushes. We can come in here, these are the ones that come with Photoshop. So if we go in here, we can say special effects brushes. Click on this and add them. So I'm going to append them to the current brushes that are here, and it's going to load these brushes into my brushes panel, and there they are. So we can add brushes in. So we've got, look at that. You can do just about any brush you want. Snowflakes, raindrops, fireworks. If there's a brush that you think you can use, I bet you can find it on the internet. If you just do a Google search for fairy dust Photoshop brushes or snowflake Photoshop brushes, you will find tons and tons and tons of them out there. And 99% of them are free. But in this next video, let's learn how we can create our own custom brushes that will give you a lot more, and you can do some things, and we'll actually do some stuff with them.